In the last episode, we followed the creation of a shared vision for Canvas Commons. Owners, designers, builders, operators, technologists, and future stewards each contributed to that vision from a different perspective, united by the belief that Canvas Commons should become more than a collection of well-designed buildings. But before that vision can become a meaningful experience, we need to ask a more personal question. Who are we creating this place for? Imagine Canvas Commons early in the morning as the district begins to wake. A train arrives at Transit Plaza. People step onto the platform carrying briefcases, backpacks, luggage, coffee, and all the other small signs of the day ahead. Some know exactly where they are going. Others pause for a moment, looking for the first clue that will help the district make sense. Nearby, a resident is heading toward the market. A hospitality employee is preparing for arriving guests. A groundskeeper is checking the landscape before the day begins. An office worker moves toward the workplace quarter while a first-time visitor looks for the hotel and conference center. They are all entering the same district. They are not having the same experience. Some know Canvas Commons through years of routine. Others are seeing it for the first time. Some are here for a meeting, a lecture, or a weekend visit. Some are here to receive an experience. Others are here to help create one. That is why the word user is rarely enough. Nobody arrives as a generic user. People arrive with different purposes, expectations, abilities, responsibilities, and questions. The challenge is not to predict every individual perfectly. It is to understand the community well enough to create experiences that remain welcoming, accessible, respectful, and useful, without assuming everyone needs the same thing. So in this episode, we are going to meet the community Canvas Commons was designed to serve. We will follow the people who live here, work here, visit here, and help sustain the district long after everyone else has gone home. Because buildings may provide the setting, but people give the place meaning. Let us begin with someone who lives in Canvas Commons. For this resident, the district is not primarily a project, a system, or a collection of buildings. It is home. Home extends beyond the front door. It includes familiar paths, daily routines, nearby food, public spaces, neighbors, and the ability to participate in community life without planning every interaction in advance. The question is not whether the district contains the right amenities. The question is whether life here feels connected, comfortable, and genuinely lived in. For another resident, that experience may revolve around a dog. A daily walk becomes a familiar route through the landscape. Canine Commons and the nearby social terrace become places where conversations begin, friendships form, and familiar faces become neighbors. The dogs provide the reason to gather. The relationships become the outcome. Some residents also work within the district. Others live elsewhere, but return every day because Canvas Commons has become part of the pattern of their lives. That distinction matters because people belong to places in different ways. Great places create participation, not only occupancy. Visitors experience the district differently. A conference guest may arrive with luggage, a schedule, and limited knowledge of the district. A hotel guest may be visiting for an entirely different purpose. A cultural visitor may have come for a lecture, an exhibition, or an afternoon in the sculpture garden. Each journey is different. But each person needs the district to feel understandable, welcoming, and accessible from the moment they arrive. Not everyone who experiences Canvas Commons is a visitor. Some people help create the experience. Hospitality employees help guests navigate the district. Groundskeepers care for the landscape that most people simply enjoy. Water and energy stewards manage systems that remain largely invisible to the public. Security professionals work to preserve trust while keeping the district open and welcoming. Most people experience comfort, confidence, beauty, and community. Stewards experience the responsibility that makes those outcomes possible. These examples are not stereotypes, and they are not the only people Canvas Commons serves. They are simply reminders that there is no such thing as a generic user. People arrive with different purposes, abilities, expectations, and needs. Accessibility is not a separate experience for a separate group. It is part of creating a place where many different journeys can succeed with equal dignity. The goal is not to design for one typical person. The goal is to stop assuming that one journey represents everyone. Let us return to the resident whose day begins at home. The journey into the district may be so familiar that it hardly feels like a journey at all. The resident knows which route is most comfortable in the morning, when the commons becomes busy, where the market entrance is easiest to reach, and which path offers a quieter way home in the evening. That familiarity is difficult to represent on a plan. It develops through repetition. A route becomes understandable, then predictable, and eventually part of the resident's sense of home. The resident may stop at the market for something needed later in the day, cross paths with a neighbor near the commons, and notice that preparations are underway at the gathering house. None of these moments needs to become a major event. Their value comes from how naturally they fit together. Convenience is not merely the distance between destinations, it is the absence of unnecessary friction between the parts of daily life. The market is useful because it is nearby. It becomes meaningful because it belongs within a larger pattern of home, movement, people, and place. Later, the resident may walk a dog toward Canine Commons. The dog recognizes the route before the resident reaches the first turn. Familiar people are already nearby. Someone who arrived alone joins a conversation at the edge of the park. The community professional from the adjoining neighborhood has stopped after work. Another resident has taken a seat on the social terrace with a drink while the dogs continue playing. No event was scheduled. No formal program was required. The setting simply allowed people to remain long enough for connection to become possible. This is an important distinction. A project can deliver a dog park, a terrace, lighting, landscape, seating, fencing, water stations, accessible paths, and a bar. It cannot deliver community as a construction item. Community may emerge when a place is easy to reach, comfortable to occupy, welcoming to different people, maintained well, connected to daily routines, and supported by patterns of use that encourage people to return. The physical place creates an opportunity. People create the experience. Accessibility belongs inside this ordinary journey rather than beside it. A resident using a wheelchair, cane, mobility device, or service animal should not be directed toward a separate version of community life. The routes, thresholds, seating, surfaces, information, shade, and gathering places should support participation with the same dignity and sense of belonging available to everyone else. Inclusion is not achieved simply because an accessible route technically exists. The route has to feel like part of the intended experience. By the time the resident returns home, nothing extraordinary may have happened. Groceries were purchased, a dog had time outside, a familiar face became a neighbor. A plan for dinner emerged from an unexpected conversation. Yet those moments are precisely where the promise of Canvas Commons begins becoming real. Some of the most meaningful experiences are the ones nobody scheduled. Now let us follow someone who does not know Canvas Commons. A conference guest steps off a train at Transit Plaza. The guest may already be thinking about an upcoming meeting, a presentation, luggage, time, or whether the hotel room is ready. Canvas Commons is not yet a community for this person. At this moment, it is an unfamiliar place that must become understandable. The first experience is not the conference. It is arrival. Can the guest identify the correct direction without hesitation? Is the route comfortable while carrying luggage? Does the journey remain clear for someone using a mobility device or traveling with a service animal? Is there a place to pause? Can the guest distinguish the hotel from the conference center while still understanding how both relate to the commons? Those questions may appear small when considered separately. Together, they determine whether arrival creates confidence or uncertainty. Wayfinding is often treated as a signage problem, but a coherent arrival depends on much more than signs. Architecture establishes sightlines and thresholds. Landscape frames, paths, and destinations. Lighting supports orientation across changing conditions. Transit information, digital directions, accessible routes, staff awareness, public space design, and appropriate access all contribute. A sign may provide an instruction. The complete environment creates confidence. The guest should not need to understand which professional discipline created each part of the journey. The guest should not need to know where transit responsibility ends, where hospitality begins, who owns digital directions, which team prepared the room, or which system manages access at the hotel. Those boundaries may be essential to the organizations involved. They are invisible to the person moving through them. The guest experiences one continuous journey. If the journey works well, the guest may reach the hotel, leave luggage, find the meeting, and later explore the gathering house or sculpture garden without ever thinking about the coordination involved. The experience will simply make sense. That apparent simplicity is an achievement. It is the result of many decisions remaining connected to the needs of the person making the journey. This is why experience begins before the destination. The meeting room may be excellent, the conference may be valuable, the hotel may provide attentive service. But if arrival created confusion, unnecessary effort, or uncertainty, the experience began accumulating friction before the guest reached any of them. The journey matters because the destination cannot repair every experience that came before it. In episode 2, we watched many disciplines align around a shared purpose. Now we can make that purpose more specific. They were not aligning merely to create buildings, systems, contracts, or completed spaces. They were trying to create experiences for the people whose lives would intersect with Canvas Commons. The resident's sense of home, the community professional's sense of participation, the guest's confidence, the cultural visitor's discovery, and the hospitality employee's ability to help are all expressions of that purpose. None of those experiences belongs to a single discipline. The resident's experience crosses architecture, landscape, housing operations, public space, identity, security, mobility, maintenance, hospitality, and community programming. The conference guest's journey crosses transit, arrival, wayfinding, hotel operations, meeting preparation, accessibility, information, access, lighting, and staff readiness. The experience exists in the relationships among them. This is where concierge thinking begins. Concierge is not simply a desk, an app, a voice assistant, a chatbot, or a member of the hospitality team. Those things may contribute, but the idea begins with a more fundamental question. Given this person, this purpose, this location, and this moment, what should happen? Sometimes the answer is to provide help. Sometimes the answer is to prepare the environment. Sometimes the answer is to protect a boundary. And sometimes the best response is to remain quietly in the background because everything is already working as it should. For a conference guest, the appropriate response may be a clear route, current meeting information, a room that is ready, and access that works at the right moment. For a resident, the appropriate response may be privacy, familiar entry, and the absence of unnecessary questions. For a gallery visitor, the response may involve accessible entry, clear interpretation, seating, and a natural transition into the sculpture garden. For an employee, the response may be accurate information and the authority to resolve a guest's problem without sending the guest through several departments. The best experiences often feel effortless because the complexity has been handled elsewhere. Someone anticipated the need. Someone connected the information. Someone made the route accessible. Someone defined who could act. Someone prepared the physical environment. Someone preserved the context. Someone remains responsible when circumstances change. The systems do not disappear. They stop demanding attention from the person whose experience they exist to support. We can see the same idea in the gallery. A visitor experiences arrival, an exhibition, interpretation, accessible movement, places to pause, and a transition into the sculpture garden. A conservator experiences environmental conditions, protected access, collection responsibility, and information that the public does not need. A hospitality partner may experience event coordination. A groundskeeper may experience responsibility for the landscape surrounding the cultural space. They are all connected to the gallery. They are not having the same experience. The water steward's journey reveals another part of the invisible layer. When rain crosses Canvas Commons, the water does not simply vanish into a drain. Water from roofs, plazas, paths, and landscape is captured and guided. Bioswales and planted channels slow and filter flows while supporting soil and habitat. Storage allows water to be held for later use. Water intended for reuse receives treatment appropriate to how it will be used. From there, water may support irrigation, streams, planted areas, or water features before being monitored, recirculated, or directed onward. To the public, this appears as landscape and place. To the water steward, it is a connected operating journey. That water journey requires more than periodic maintenance. Storage levels change. Filters and treatment processes require attention. Pumps, valves, sensors, and controls must remain understandable. Water quality must remain appropriate for the intended use. Streams and planted channels can accumulate sediment or respond differently as vegetation matures. Irrigation needs change with seasons and weather. The design may have established the system. Stewardship keeps the system connected to its purpose. The energy steward follows another journey unfolding across time. During the day, rooftop solar and solar canopies may generate energy while building orientation, shading, green roofs, efficient systems, and operational choices reduce demand. Some energy is used as it is generated. Some may be stored in batteries for later use. As evening arrives, the relationship changes. Offices are no longer the only destination. The gathering house becomes more active. A gallery lecture begins. Paths, public spaces, residences, hotel operations, and canine commons continue relying on energy long after daytime generation has declined. The district experiences continuity. The energy steward sees what makes that continuity possible. Solar and battery storage are not finished simply because installation is complete. Generation must be observed. Battery condition, temperature, charge, discharge, controls, safety, and performance must remain understood. The relationship among stored energy, current demand, resilience priorities, building systems, and the larger electrical service must remain governable. The public outcome is not the presence of visible solar panels or an impressive battery room. The outcome is the district's continuing ability to use energy responsibly while supporting comfort, safety, resilience, and daily life. This is the invisible experience layer. People, places, processes, information, systems, and stewardship work together. The visitor experiences confidence. The resident experiences belonging. The employee experiences readiness. The cultural visitor experiences discovery. The public experiences water, landscape, light, comfort, and community. The complexity remains. The experience becomes coherent. To support people well, Canvas Commons needs context. But context does not mean collecting every available detail about every person. A district does not need to know everything. It needs the minimum understanding required to support the experience appropriately. That difference is essential. Without enough context, the district may respond poorly. With too much unnecessary information, the district can become intrusive, difficult to govern, and harder to trust. The useful questions are practical. Who is interacting? What is the person trying to accomplish? What place or service is involved? What authority is appropriate? What information is genuinely necessary? What information would be irrelevant, excessive, or unfair to request? These are not technology questions alone. They are questions of dignity, privacy, accessibility, hospitality, and trust. Consider the conference guest looking for a meeting room. Canvas Commons may need to understand the destination, the guest's current location, whether an accessible route is required, whether the meeting location has changed, and whether the room is ready. The district probably does not need unrelated personal information. More data does not automatically create a better experience. Sometimes, better design begins with understanding what not to ask. The same principle applies to a resident returning home. The district may need enough context to support an appropriate residential threshold. The access should work. The route should remain understandable. The resident should be able to enter with confidence. None of that requires turning an ordinary return home into a visible act of surveillance. A well-designed experience should preserve privacy and dignity, while still providing the protection the resident expects. Accessibility also requires context without assumption. Two people using mobility devices may not need the same support. Someone accompanied by a service animal has a different purpose from someone visiting Canine Commons with a pet. An older adult may value places to rest along a route. A visitor may need clearer visual or auditory information. A guest carrying luggage may temporarily experience the district differently from the same person on another day. The goal is not to create one alternate journey labeled accessible. The goal is to create many dignified ways to participate. Experience without assumption does not mean experience without understanding. It means seeking the right context at the right time, using that context for the right purpose, protecting it appropriately, and avoiding information that the experience does not require. That is how privacy, accessibility, identity, hospitality, and trust begin reinforcing one another rather than competing. Trust is present throughout every journey in Canvas Commons, even when people do not consciously name it. The resident trusts that home will remain private. The guest trusts that the hotel will be welcoming and appropriately protected. The cultural visitor trusts that public space is genuinely public. The conservator trusts that protected collections will remain protected. The water steward and energy steward trust that operational access, controls, records, and responsibilities will remain understandable. Each form of trust is different. All of them matter. Trust does not mean that everyone receives the same access. It means that each interaction is handled in a way that is appropriate, understandable, and proportionate. A resident, guest, visitor, employee, contractor, steward, and operator do not arrive with the same purpose or authority. A coherent experience respects those differences without turning every threshold into a confrontation. The objective is not to remove boundaries. The objective is to make the right boundaries support the right experience. When appropriate access is designed well, most people may barely notice it. The journey remains clear. The transition makes sense. Additional verification appears only when the context requires it. Public areas remain open. Private and protected areas remain protected. The experience feels hospitable because trust and accountability are working together. This is where zero trust becomes relevant to human experience. Presence should not automatically create authority. A person, service, device, or contractor should receive only the access appropriate to the purpose and context of the interaction. That access should be reviewable and should change when the person, vendor, device, service, or purpose changes. But none of those principles requires Canvas Commons to become a hostile place. Good trust design should make the appropriate experience easier. It should not make every person feel suspected. A district that behaves well does not assume. It seeks enough understanding to respond appropriately. It verifies when verification is necessary. It respects what it does not need to know. And it preserves the dignity of the people moving through the place. Now imagine a different version of the conference guest's arrival. The train reaches Transit Plaza on time. The hotel has the reservation. The meeting room has been booked. The access system is operating. The environmental controls are maintaining the room. Digital wayfinding is available. Every individual component appears to be doing what it was designed to do. But the directions sent before arrival use a destination name that does not match the language shown at Transit Plaza. The hotel system recognizes the reservation, but the conference system has not reflected a meeting room change. The digital map includes an accessible route, but the physical environment makes another path appear more obvious. A hospitality employee can help, but the employee is looking at information that differs from what the guest received. Nothing is dramatically broken. There is no emergency, system-wide outage, or visible failure. No individual team necessarily failed to perform its assigned responsibility. Yet the guest becomes uncertain, late, and increasingly dependent on people correcting gaps that the coordinated experience was supposed to prevent. The frustration comes not from one major failure, but from several small inconsistencies accumulating across the journey. Access control worked. Booking worked. Wayfinding worked. Environmental controls worked. The meeting room worked. The systems succeeded. The experience did not. This is one of the most difficult challenges in complex places. Every department can be competent. Every vendor can fulfill a contract. Every system can pass testing. Every professional can complete an assigned scope. And the complete journey can still become fragmented because the experience exists across all of them. No single system contains the whole experience. No individual contract necessarily owns it. People do not experience systems one at a time. The conference guest does not experience an access control platform, a booking platform, a map, a lighting system, a meeting room system, and a hospitality process as 6 separate accomplishments. The guest experiences arrival. The guest experiences confidence. Or the guest experiences friction. What matters is what the combined environment allows the person to do. This is why visitor experience is not a single system. Comfort is not a single system. Belonging is not a single system. Hospitality is not a single system. Environmental stewardship is not a single system. These are capabilities. A capability is something the district can continue making possible through the coordinated work of many contributors. The conference guest's experience may depend on transit, arrival, wayfinding, accessible routes, hospitality, appropriate access, current information, staff readiness, lighting, landscape, room preparation, building systems, and operational support. No single contributor creates the experience alone. The experience emerges from their coordinated performance. To the guest, it still feels like one journey. The resident experience is also a capability. It depends on home, privacy, daily life services, public space, comfort, accessibility, neighborhood relationships, landscape, maintenance, safety, community participation, and the ability to adapt as life changes. The residential building is essential. The residents' experience extends well beyond the building. The life around Canine Commons is another example. The experience depends on a safe enclosure, healthy landscape, shade, cleaning, water, seating, accessible circulation, dog-friendly hospitality, predictable expectations, considerate participation, and continuing care. The physical space can be delivered on opening day. The social experience must continue being cultivated and stewarded. The same principle applies to water and energy. The capability is not the panel, battery, storage tank, pump, stream, sensor, or control system by itself. The capability is the district's continuing ability to use water and energy responsibly while supporting landscape, habitat, comfort, safety, resilience, and public life. The assets matter because of what the connected capability allows Canvas Commons to sustain. Once we begin thinking in capabilities, a new responsibility becomes visible. Who owns whether the complete experience succeeds? Not who supplied an individual product. Not who completed a particular drawing. Not who closed a construction item. Who remains accountable for the capability that people depend on after project delivery? That question will become increasingly important as our story continues. Designing an intended experience does not prove that the experience occurred. The team may have described a welcoming arrival. The plan may show an accessible route. The technology may provide directions. The hotel may have documented its service process. The question remains whether a real person experienced confidence rather than confusion. How would Canvas Commons know? Did the conference guest reach the destination without unnecessary help? Was the accessible route genuinely usable and easy to understand? Did the resident experience privacy at the residential threshold? Did the cultural visitor feel welcome? Could the hospitality employee obtain accurate information when it was needed? Did the community professional feel invited to participate without living in the district? Did Canine Commons become a place where social relationships formed, or did it remain an attractive but underused amenity? Did the landscape remain comfortable as trees matured and seasons changed? Did the water system continue supporting streams, habitat, irrigation, and public experience? Did solar generation and battery storage continue supporting the intended energy and resilience goals? Those questions connect human experience with operational truth. Answering them does not always require another dashboard. Some evidence may come from system performance. Some may come from observation, recurring questions, service requests, route changes, accessibility reviews, interviews, participation patterns, maintenance records, or direct feedback. The method will vary. The important principle is that intent should eventually meet evidence. The feedback loop is straightforward to describe. The district begins with an intention. People have an experience. Stewards observe what actually happened. The organization learns and makes an improvement. Then the cycle begins again, because the people, place, technologies, services, and expectations continue changing. The purpose remains stable. The way the district supports that purpose may need to evolve. Experience must be observed rather than assumed. That does not mean reducing every human moment to a score or attempting to monitor every interaction. It means remaining curious enough to ask whether the place is doing what it was created to do, and humble enough to learn when reality differs from the original expectation. Now imagine Canvas Commons near the end of an ordinary day. Residents are returning home. Workers are leaving offices, but some remain for dinner, a lecture, or time with friends. A conference guest crosses the Commons after a meeting. The gallery is welcoming an evening audience. The market continues supporting the routines of daily life. No single event defines the district. Life is unfolding across many places at once. At the Gathering House, people arrive for meals, conversations, and events. On the social terrace, residents and neighbors gather beside canine commons. Some know one another well. Others are becoming familiar through repeated encounters. Nearby, people move through the sculpture garden, pause beside the water, or choose a shaded path home. The district feels active without requiring a festival, a grand opening, or a special occasion. The community professional who lives outside Canvas Commons attends a gallery lecture and meets friends afterward. A hotel guest discovers the sculpture garden. A resident recognizes a hospitality employee. An older adult pauses along an accessible route. A person accompanied by a service animal participates naturally in public life. A groundskeeper completes the final work of the day without becoming the center of the scene. Each person experiences a different Canvas Commons. Together, those experiences create the place. Elsewhere, the water steward is checking that capture, storage, treatment, circulation, streams, irrigation, reuse, and landscape health remain connected. The energy steward is observing the relationship among generation, battery storage, current demand, resilience priorities, and the evening activity appearing across the district. Security operations is protecting trust without disrupting the public experience. Many of the people sustaining Canvas Commons remain largely invisible to the people enjoying it. Their work is present in the quality and continuity of the experience. When these experiences work together, something new emerges. Canvas Commons becomes more than architecture, infrastructure, technology, hospitality, landscape, culture, transportation, or operations considered separately. It becomes a community. Not because every person experiences the district in the same way, but because the district allows many different people to participate in ways that are meaningful to them. That community does not belong only to the people who live within the property boundary. It belongs in different ways to the people who work here, visit here, care for it, learn here, create here, maintain it, and allow it to become part of their lives. A successful place creates participation, not only occupancy. The buildings matter. The systems matter. The professional expertise matters. But those things gain meaning through the experiences they make possible. People do not experience systems. People experience what systems allow them to do. When Canvas Commons is working this well, it is tempting to believe the promise has been fulfilled. The buildings are complete, the spaces are occupied, the systems are online, the district is active. People appear to be having the experiences everyone intended. From the outside, success may seem self-sustaining. But this episode has shown us why that conclusion requires caution. Experiences cross professional and organizational boundaries. They depend on coordination. They respond to identity and context. They require appropriate trust. They depend on accessibility, hospitality, operational readiness, current information, and continuing stewardship. They can succeed. They can also become fragmented while every individual system continues working. Successful project delivery tells us that Canvas Commons reached an important milestone. It does not automatically tell us that every capability will remain healthy. It does not tell us whether someone owns the complete experience. It does not tell us whether the intended outcomes will survive as people, technologies, vendors, budgets, operating conditions, and expectations change. Completion and continuity are not the same thing. If people experience outcomes rather than systems, and if those outcomes depend on continuing coordination and stewardship, then a larger question is waiting beneath the surface. Is successful delivery the same thing as successful outcomes? That is where our journey goes next. We will move from the impressive things a project can deliver to the enduring capabilities and outcomes a building must continue supporting. Connected, integrated, commissioned, automated, and intelligent are important accomplishments. They are not, by themselves, proof that a building behaves well. Canvas Commons was designed around people whose lives intersect with the district in different ways. Their journeys are different. Their needs are different. Their experiences are different. What connects them is the place they share and the purpose that place was created to serve. People do not experience systems. People experience what systems allow them to do. Modern buildings can contain connected systems, integrated platforms, automation, analytics, and intelligence. They can be carefully designed, competently constructed, thoroughly commissioned, and successfully delivered. Yet many still struggle to sustain the outcomes they promised. Why does successful delivery not guarantee successful outcomes? Next time, from deliverables to outcomes. In our next episode, we will explore how organizations determine whether the outcomes they hoped for are actually occurring, and why successful delivery does not always guarantee successful results. Join us for Episode 4, From Experiences to Outcomes.